Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq, coming to you live from the Singapore Fintech Festival. Joining me to close out our coverage for 2023, we have Nikhil Joshi. He's the Chief Operating Officer of EMURGO, and we're here to discuss Web3's role in the innovation economy. It is great to have you with us, Nikhil. Welcome to TradeTalks.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about your vision for the blockchain ecosystem when it comes to growth and innovation. Tell us about EMURGO, what you do.
Sure. So EMURGO is affiliated to the Cardano blockchain ecosystem. Our purpose is to facilitate commercial adoption. So the way we do that is work with either organizations already building on Cardano or by bringing in new entrants. Our approach is one of invest and nurture. So what I mean by that is we make investments, we help bring in external capital. We have fintech infrastructure that organizations can come and leverage. We support commercial activity, so for example, go-to-market, things like that. We have a social network platform, and we offer education. So as one of the largest organizations on the Cardano blockchain, we're pretty well placed to help grow the number of investors, developers, governments, institutions, or indeed non-institutional businesses that want to come and use the Cardano tech stack in some shape or form.
How do you select projects for investments, and how do they contribute to the overall vision to interoperability and real-world Web3 use cases?
Yeah, so that's super important for Cardano. Ultimately, it's a tech stack, and so it's about what is the application that an end organization would need. And so when we invest, we are looking for real use cases. We are looking for interoperability. Cardano recently announced the launch of a fourth generation blockchain called Midnight. Its focus is very much on interoperability, as well as determining what data should be kept private and what can be kept in the public domain. And that's very much with a view to addressing concerns that financial institutions or indeed regulators might have about privacy and that sort of thing. So very important to us.
How is EMURGO addressing the skills gap in the blockchain space?
So we first and foremost, we run an education program. It is very much entrenched in helping to increase the number and the quality of developers that are building on Cardano. I'm a non-technologist by background, so it's equally important for people like me to understand, okay, this is the technology, this is how it works. Do I need to know it in its full granularity? No, not necessarily, but I do need to understand what the commercial application would be. So for that reason, we're equally rolling out education courses to address that segment of the market, i.e. the non-technologists. There are also peripheral aspects, if you like, and we're addressing that through content that we'll roll out next year. So as an example, legal, tax, regulatory compliance type of considerations that as an organization you may need to be aware of if you're either in this space or you're considering how some of the technology might be used in the space that you're operating in. Past the formal structure of education, we then have a social network platform, something called Cardano Spot. That is very much a one-stop shop for either those in the ecosystem to come and engage with each other, or indeed for new players to come and say, have a look inside and say, hey, what's going on? Who's who? What do they do? How can I engage? And we use Cardano Spot as a gateway to the products and services so that we can help bring projects, institutions, government folks, regulators up the curve in engaging with our ecosystem overall.
And let's talk more about that. Like you, I'm a non-technologist coming from the equity trading side of the business.
Sure. What
opportunities are there for traditional businesses in the Cardano ecosystem, and how is EMURGO facilitating this transition?
Sure. So I guess within Cardano we have ultimately it's a tech stack. So what do you want to do? What do you want to do as a, say, a financial institution? Might that be something in the DeFi space, right? So Cardano supports things like decentralized exchanges. MinSwap is probably one of the biggest one. We have another Indigo, which is similar but with synthetic assets, all the way through to non-DeFi activity. So here I might cite examples like NMaker, which is an NFT minting platform. We have a project called Neum. It's a music streaming marketplace, right? So it depends how you want to use the tech stack. We can help organizations navigate the ecosystem so they understand where are the right touch points for them, make those introductions. We have our own technology stacks as well, so tokenization, IP, headless wallets, NFT marketplace infrastructure, which organizations can come in and leverage for their own purposes. So there are numerous ways, be it through build or through introductions, and that's where we see ourselves playing a critical role.
All right, Nikhil, we appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. And thanks for joining me from the Singapore Fintech Festival. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.